Hello, everybody. Ryan Carpenter here with No BS Golf, presented to you by P45 Knuckle Down Golf. Well, we are off and running here, and coming down, after that PGA Championship week and whatnot, and had a bunch of busy early week lessons, and then kind of cooled off today. So I got a lot more time to catch up on things. And well, I tell you, it was perfect timing. I'd known about this account for a while, but this On the Road with Iona on the old YouTube, boy, is it one of the best out there, hands down. It's a really good kind of inside look, if you will, maybe. Anyways, and she does a great job with her show. But this last one definitely is it's how you get someone like me involved real fast, because she went to, I call him a mentor because I've been learning from him forever. I haven't worked with him directly or personally, but there's so much great info out there now at this stage from him. I remember the days where he was on the Golf Channel, back when the Golf Channel was actually a helpful program, and was on in studio live with Tiger in the original days and doing a lot of great stuff. And so, but if you haven't learned anything about Butch and the Harmon family, it's something that is important to understand. That it's a very unique situation and lifestyle, and he talks about it a little bit in the program here. And having that kind of information and that kind of experience is invaluable. And the Harmon brothers grew up under what would be probably, for the most part, considered the first really true, great golf instructor, at least in terms of, the fairly modern era, starting in the early 1900s, late 1800s, early 1900s ish of and on. So Butch goes on and has a great little fun session with this gal, and talking about a lot of great stuff. Too much to even, I've watched it 5 times. I still want to go back and watch it again, because you can't soak it in enough. Anyways, one of the things that, I've actually had a conversation about multiple times, and I'm always amazed, because whether it be talking with a club representative, even some club tech guys, club fitters, and then, of course, other teaching professionals, and they are more often than not a little bit almost confused to some degree when I talk about the fact that today's standard length driver is literally insane for most people out there. It's beyond egregious. It's beyond way too much. Well, so like always, and I learned this from this man at least 10 years ago, probably roughly, when he, the 2 greatest players he ever coached, which would be considered easily 2 of the best ever, because their number 1 status alone and then their dominance on tour are 2 major outstanding factors. So Norman and Woods. And they both played with 43 and a third, or 3/4 steel shafted drivers. And they just smoked the hell out of everybody out there with that. So, pardon me, that's one part of it. The second part is that, he gets talking about, you start putting in these extra lengths to try to create distance. That ain't how you create distance. First of all, that ain't how it works. That's why you got to take lessons, folks. Second, more than anything, it makes you back up. It makes you do all these kinds of crazy things in your golf swing, because you got to find room to somehow get that damn club down on the golf ball. And most y'all are swinging from the steeper angle anyways. And so from that combination, it makes that blowback even more. You got to pull the hell back away from it. So it's just making it worse, more difficult, and a problem. And so these are the little things that when you talk to listen to a Butch type player, teacher, wanted to be a player. A great example too. I will tell you this: this is one of the greatest instructors to walk the earth, mainly because he grew up under his dad. But hey, you can't slight him for that. But he's had the experience and the know-how and the knowledge and the learning and the development and the learning from that and blah 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 for so many years, and to his now 70s, I believe, and he never made it. He tried. He says in this episode right here, he's like, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't even do it. It was just too hard. I got news for everybody out there. It is not easy to play high-level golf. It's not easy to play competitive golf. It's not easy at all. And for those that even are good at, striking a golf ball a little bit here and there, it doesn't mean they can take it to where it counts. And many of the best and the good ones don't. They never do. They never transition that far. And I will say this too, a combination of things. We can use Butch as the key example. Not a PGA member for a reason. Get into that later. Not a high-level player on the PGA Tour ever. Nope. I mean, I wouldn't even call him necessarily an outstanding college player or anything like that necessarily. And yet, by far and away, is still the number one coach, hands down, in the current realm of guys doing it out there. And for good reasons. And while there is some element of, you can just look in the studio, you can see that, yes, things like technology have been added to his fold. It's not the end-all be-all for him. It's not what makes him the ability to teach and coach. It's just a part of the framework of how he puts it together. So there's a lot of misunderstanding out there in the world of golf instruction and teaching and learning and all kinds of stuff. And the length of club is 1. The use of technology is 2. The when and how to apply it, the know-how. I mean, he talks about it. You got to know your players. You got to know them really well in order to know how to actually, kind of move in and do this and do that versus this and that. Well, I got news for folks. This is part of what I try to explain in day one. It's like, it takes time not only to get better at golf, but to get better at knowing you as the players. And to know how to push those buttons and when it's the right time and how to tweak when it's a tweak and how to change when it's a change. So this is an excellent episode. I highly recommend it. Just watching and listening to him go back and forth between a little bit of interview and a little bit of teaching this gal a little bit and then hitting shots. And I mean, shoot, at one point, I think he basically, because he knew, he just didn't. Doesn't surprise me. I've done it. Not because I knew on my own. I learned from people like him. Put an 8-degree shorter club in the player's hand and bam. She's blown away by how far she's carrying it all of a sudden by a little bit of swing thing. And I love the swing thing because it was literally a typical holdback factor. We try to tell people all the time, I'm looking at the top swing and I'm like, okay. Maybe arms this, club this, hinge it. Look, I need you loading and turned. You got to get into position to come back the other direction. And that's all he talked about with her. He said, you're not doing it. You're restricting too much. Amazing video. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And, pardon me, got a little sinus going on. So watch that video. It's really good. These are the people that I've been studying for decades. And even after watching this, it reminds me of things and it makes me go, yep, that's exactly why we do that. And yep, okay, bingo. See, that's why. And pardon me, even as a teacher, I can get that ability to, make sure that, in my own mind, yeah, that's right. That's why we do that. So anyhow, we're coming into the summer and I know everybody's gone out and going to play golf and all that good stuff. And for good reason. And I understand that. It's going to be hot. It's going to be bugs. It's going to be sweat, all that kind of stuff. You know what? If you want to escape that stuff, let's head up to thegolfpub.com. Not only to escape the weather, play some good golf, play the course, play Colonial this week if you want to. But let's get you started on your journey. I hate it when players delay. There's no reason to delay. We know, and I know exactly the path and the way to go about finding a way to really change your game. We're not talking about maybe tweak it to make it a little bit better, but if you want to really get truly better, like really change your game and go after those goals you never thought you'd ever be able to achieve, I know how to get it done. And so let's get you started. The evaluation is the first step. It is currently free. More than anything, you got to have that information to make a good decision. So, set up that time, come in, let's get you started. Until you have seen all the things I just sent, pardon me, all the emails yesterday from Evaluation Tuesday, and it was about, 9 emails with a couple of different images in each. So about 18 different things that we had to talk about and pinpoint and discuss as to why they're important, how it works, how it doesn't work, so on and so forth. And then the other lesson I had on that day was something that's common that runs into the process. Player went and worked hard, come back. Yeah, it's better. Good job. But here's the problem. This is still happening. Look at this. And the player swear, I did not feel that. And I said, I know. Did you use feedback? Feel versus real, folks, is a thing. And what you think you're doing in a golf swing, I can guarantee you 9 times out of 10, you are not. Even on little motions, we're talking about putts and chips, very controlled movements. But until you see it, you just don't know. In fact, I got a training aid coming. One of the very few that I, will use from a group that I've been working with. Oh man, tell you what, it was a good phone call I made the other day. This company I started working with back 15 years ago. And at the time, it was just the owner, Sam. He was out on tour every week trying to give away his products to see if the pros liked it or not. And every week he'd come back with a new list. How many tour pros using his training aids and which one they're using. And it got to the point where it was, 150 some odd tour pros and 300 and some odd amount of training aids being used. Why? Because his are good ones. They're not junk. Now, they have to be used correctly. They have to be understood. But anyways, one of the most common things is, in putting and in chipping and everything is get handsy with all that stuff. Well, how do you know if you're handsy or not? How do you know how to detect it? Well, you don't. That's the problem. And so I kind of designed my own fake version of it in the lesson because I didn't have one of these newer. The old one's busted, and I needed to get a new one anyways. I got the new one, the putting pendulum, coming, and immediately with this putting pendulum, the player can actually detect 100% without fail what they're doing versus what they're not. And so if we're going to go spend 15 minutes working hard on our putting stroke and try to get that dang glitchy, handy goodness going out of the putt and get more stable, this aid will give you the feedback you need instantaneously, because we do not want to keep repeating bad motion even though you think you're doing good motion. That's a waste of time. You're just doing the old, hoping that it's better, and that ain't going to get you nowhere. So doing it correctly, feedback. The feedbacks are either going to be something like an aid that gives you true feedback, or B, video is always the key, because you can see and know right away. And I have an app that you can use. It's free for the first 60 days as well. It's also something I've been working on for a very long time, consulting with this owner. Pardon me, man. And I think we've got it down pat. So for today, that's it. I got lots to get going to do. As always, down in the comments section, let me know what you want to talk about, what you want to hear about, what you want to discuss, whatever, you name it. Heck, you want to come on here, you come on here with me. I'll host you as a guest. I'll ask you ask any questions you want, I'll answer them. And please be sure to hit that like button, smash it, subscribe, and share with others, please. Sharing really does help me a lot. Evals currently free for a reason. Got to have that information in order to know what you need to do to get to take a step forward. Other than that, check out my facility I partnered with, the www.thegolfpub.com. And as always, on Twitter at P45KDG, and email P45knuckledowngolf@gmail.com. For now, that's it for Ryan Carpenter here with No BS Golf, presented by P45 Knuckle Down Golf. Take care, folks.